Hello everyone, my name is Amber Smith and my presentation is called Regret You, and I will be discussing the effects of anticipatory regret on decision making. Just a little background, this presentation was based off of a vignette by someone named Bill, who was a 35-year-old Caucasian captain in the U.S. Air Force, and he had bipolar disorder as a teenager, was treated, and then decided he did not need treatment any longer. He was stationed in Guam, where he befriended a gay Japanese couple, and he socializes with these men regularly. Currently, he's experiencing extreme distress, feelings of isolation from his friends and family, and just feelings of regret in general of not finding someone to have a relationship with. He's currently acting out and being reprimanded for poor conduct and has been ordered to seek therapy. The therapist believes he's experiencing both shame and guilt, and his friends believe that the shame is the greater problem. So just a little bit about regret in general. Regret is the decision-related emotion when an outcome is or could be worse than the alternative that was not chosen. There's some behavioral consequences to regret, such as risk aversion, risk-taking, decision avoidance, and non-optimal decision-making. And we know that regret can cause negative impacts on the psychological and physical health. Regret is also broken up into two components, which is the affective decision and the cognitive understanding. A person must experience both negative affect while also thinking about how the situation could have turned out better if a person had chosen differently. And research shows that education, career, and consumption were the most frequently reported life domains in which a person experienced regret, where romance, on the other hand, was less significant, which is very interesting in this case of vignette because it's kind of the opposite of what's happening. Regret, like I said, comes with negative outcomes that can include greater anxious arousal, depression, and general distress. It can also be tied to lower levels of well-being, life satisfaction, and reduced quality of life. Research has also showed that regret can also lead to positive outcomes because regret can encourage corrective action, such as generating intentions for future behaviors, and anticipated regret can encourage careful and thoughtful decision-making. The article that I based this presentation off talked about regret management and prevention strategies. They basically wanted to see how can regret alleviate or disperse if when presented. So some of the prevention strategies they talked about is based on decision focus, alternative focus, and feeling focus. And some things that you can, examples of regret strategies to prevent it is avoiding feedback about the non-chosen outcomes, deliberately expecting regret, and delaying the decision. Basically, if you prepare for the blow, then it might be a little bit easier to take. So in terms of this vignette, to me, Bill is experiencing regret, like he says. And regret and guilt are a little different because guilt is specific to when you violate someone's personal standards or social rules or moral principles, whereas regret is more general. In this vignette, it is not listed, but Bill is not necessarily regretting or violating his personal standards or social rules. He's just living in regret of some of the choices that he made, specifically, possibly career choice over a loving relationship. And regret is also in this vignette and is present because he's excessively concerned with the past experiences, which led to regret, which also led to the suboptimal decision making. So he's already displaying negative mental health and acting out behaviors, such as, the poor conduct that is now he's being required to seek out therapy for. And he might anticipate regret or of not finding someone, which may cause him to make decisions of not being outgoing or anything like that, which is really interesting because, Bill is still 35 years old. He's still young. He still has plenty of opportunity to do that. But the problem with anticipatory regret on decision making is when you already kind of count yourself out of the game, then it can hinder some of the decisions you make. So like I said, maybe he won't be as outgoing to finding and, making himself build those relationships with others. So this is my presentation. Thank you very much. Hello everyone, my name is Amber Smith and my presentation is called Regret You, and I will be discussing the effects of anticipatory regret on decision making. Just a little background, this presentation was based off of a vignette by someone named Bill, who was a 35-year-old Caucasian captain in the U.S. Air Force, and he had bipolar disorder as a teenager, was treated, and then decided he did not need treatment